on 10/9. So about 12 days ago, I published on an incoming altcoin rally. I believe we're seeing it. I believe this is early alt season, as we've seen plenty of big gainers. I'm also going to cover some BTC price analysis. That's going to be really brief because I believe we're range trading, and I'll go into that a little later once we get to BTC. I'm also going to make a few announcements about our Discord server. I've made a few changes, and I'd like to apologize for not going live as frequently as we used to, but that's because we've been very busy. If you're in our trading community, you know why we haven't been live, because we've been crushing the signals. We've been putting out a lot of trade calls, and we've made some pretty awesome altcoin profits. Starting with RVN at 200%, BAT, ZRX, MCO today, QTUM, Poly, just a lot of movers. There's been a lot of movement in the market cap, and I still see room for growth in market cap, but another 33 to 40% or so before we see a turn. And I'm going to go into that here in a bit. I'm going to wait till we got a few more viewers. You guys say hi just so I know who all's in the chat. Facebook, YouTube. Show some love. How's audio and how's video? If you guys don't mind letting me know. All is good. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to start with the article on 10/9, right? I wrote about market cap and what it was doing, and also saw a falling wedge setup, which is a reversal setup on the altcoin market cap. And when we did a deeper dive, I saw this inverse head and shoulders developing, but then we saw BTC make a massive leg down with the tether FUD right before the tether FUD. And I also wrote on that, right? And I think that was just the lack of liquidity in the OTC market, and somebody needed to accumulate a lot of BTC in a fast period of time. And if we see this altcoin rally coming in right after that spike, that lets us know that market makers that did that move went ahead and moved that BTC into altcoins to start the rally. So I do believe that last dip on BTC was a lack in OTC supply, which is over-the-counter trading. The market was drying up, so they had to create a shakeout, a stop hunt, just to acquire a whole lot of BTC at a cheaper price. And I'll get into that in a bit later. But it did affect the market cap. Why? Because we had this inverse head and shoulders, and price broke down a little lower, and it ended up pulling back up. And I'm going to pull out that chart shortly. Also saw some failed breakout triangles on here as well. There's a link to this in the video description, so you guys want to read that, go ahead and click control and click that link and read it once I'm done. And my consensus was there was quite a bit more volume, a whole lot more trading volume than we saw last November, and which let me know is the altcoin market was getting more mature, as we're seeing more volume and a lot of 50% and 61.8 retracements. And so we're seeing this steady growth, right? And it's not the typical alt season we're used to, and that's something I talked about. But what it is, it's steady growth. It's a lot more algorithms and bots trading. We're seeing these not these bigger pullbacks, but these more proper corrections of a 50% and 61.8 profit take before the next leg up. And we saw that on BAT, we saw that on ZRX. And I highlighted it over here, right, on Lumen, ZRX, Ripple, NEM. So I'd recommend you read this article and actually the one I posted right after, which is the OTC supply is running dry, which was this whole dip, right? This BTC dip. I think it was just to create more supply, because had this spike happened at the previous range we were trading at, had we had a 10% move up, it would have put price much further higher, right? And it would have set us in a bull market. So that dip had to happen before the accumulation phase, and now that BTC is going right into alts, and we just see it. If you follow the money, if you follow the volume, the flow, that's just how it's been working. this is on our Medium, right? Make sure you get on Medium and also read this article as well. What's going on, Frank? Could you reflect on it, please? What was missing their successful breakout? Matthew, I'll go into power shortly. I'll take some altcoin requests here in a few. All right, so going into market cap, this is the market cap chart. This is just altcoins. That previous head and shoulders was ending right there. Then we saw this little bit of a steeper dip down for the rally that we're experiencing. But the 4-hour chart shows a hidden bullish divergence from this low to that next low on RSI, which is a good thing. Current 4-hour RSI is at 51, so it's to the upside. Momentum is to the upside. If we can get market cap to go from 969 back to that 103 mark, we can expect a big leg up to start, which would be the neckline of this head and shoulders. And just to measure it, let's say it's going to be a 33 to 44% increase. And so we're seeing that 31%. So from that neckline, if we break upwards, we're going to see a major rally come into play, right? It's going to put market cap in the 136 range. And that was a target in my previous publication. That's about it for MCAP. I'm gonna hop into BTC. Actually, do you guys have what's going on, Block Delta? If you guys have any questions on altcoin cap chart, go ahead and ask it now. It's actually a series of resistances that price has broken past, right? There's this one resistance line which has turned into support, and the previous one from the falling wedge also turned into support. And there's also a bigger target for this wedge, right? So the initial target's gonna be at 33% from the neckline. There's also a 49% up move from the retest of the wedge, which would put price a little lower from that top wedge. But essentially I'm looking for another leg up in altcoin rally. You guys have any questions on the altcoin market cap? If you're trying to find this chart or how to actually chart the altcoin market cap, it's a resource for our subscribers. It's a VIP resource. It's on our website, so coinobservatory.com. If you have a membership, you'll be able to chart this along with many other coin market cap charts that are going to be TradingView charted. Hopping into BTC XBT. I talked about this dip, right? And also said that if we were to see this big spike, right? If we were to see in my OTC article, if you were to see this big acquisition of BTC, a 10% move up, and somebody buying enough BTC to move the chart up 10%, right? Somebody did that at the previous range, it would have put BTC back up in a 7,200 range, which would be very bullish, right? So market maker wasn't going to allow that, right? So if they're trying to acquire BTC at enough BTC to move the market at 10%, they're not going to do it from a previous trading range because it's going to set off a lot of bullish momentum. It's going to create a lot of FOMO. It's going to drive price even higher. But if you create this liquidity dip, if you short the market on leverage, right, with existing BTC, and you cover that short at the bottom, right, while accumulating down here, then you'll be able to acquire enough BTC to move the market 10%, right, and make BTC still trade below the previous range, right? So we're still trading below the previous range, which this wasn't a normal player. This is a market maker move, right? And it's somebody with enough BTC to move the market up 10%, or with big enough bags to do that. A lot of people are saying this is a tether bubble burst. Most tether shakeouts we've seen have been to the downside with a quick recovery. Is this Tether coming back into the market? Well, if it was Tether coming back into the market, here's my consensus on USDT and stablecoins. People exit into stablecoins when the market is coming down, okay, to protect themselves. So if this was Tether going back into the market, that would tell me that BTC is ready to go up. Or if it's the Tether losing value, well, that money would go into BTC and it would go off Bitfinex into another exchange and go right back into USD or into true US dollar, TUSD, or the Gemini dollar and other stable coins. It wouldn't remain in BTC. So that's my consensus on why I think just the Tether thing is not the real reason why we saw this dip. This was strictly I think it was to create liquidity in the market, do a nice stop hunt, shake out some retail, shake out some OTC to, sell for a lower price, create more supply. And be able to acquire X amount of BTC to move the chart up at 10% without creating a breakout and keeping BTC trading in that range. What's going on, June? Any questions on BTC or altcoin cap? Awesome. Thank you. And as for the general direction of BTC, right, I see this, currently as a range trade. We've got range low. We've got a range high. We're currently below the range high. I don't see a sustainable short trade, right? We know BACT is coming in November, which is days away. And that's going to be non-leverage. It's going to bring a lot of new participants in the market, and there's not going to be any shorting on BACT. It's strictly spot trading, futures settled the next day. So it's going to create more, it's going to act like an ETF essentially, right? And we're going to see an up move from BACT coming in and a BACT rally come in. So if we see another leg down, I'd look at for a bull dev on like a 4 hour and buy the range low. Between 6K and that 62.30. I mean, that's where we're gonna want to find support. Jacob Canfield had put up the weekly chart, and he mentioned a inverted hammer, right? And this is a bullish candle to see right here. This green one with the wick pointed to the upside, and it's technically a bullish reversal candle, so we should expect price to move back up. Now the case for volume is fairly low, but especially on the weekly. But if we observe here that the June head turn was on much lower volume, this was that bottom in June. Now April was much higher volume, and this was a true rally, right? But general consensus is there's going to be an up move coming very soon on BTC, and the fact that we're seeing an altcoin rally happen before that, what that lets me know is that market makers are trying to acquire more BTC by moving alts, right? So they can essentially sell those alts back for BTC for the BTC up move. And that's one thing we want to look out for. If you see like a breakout formation on BTC, like a flag or a pennant or a triangle, it would probably be a good time to step out of alts and go into BTC, as we're going to see a surge. Typically these seasons, when you see an alt season, a BTC rally can do one of two things. It can move alts even higher, or it could just drain the crap out of alts. So the fact that we're seeing an altcoin rally happen now, after a big market maker move of buying a bunch of BTC to move the chart up 10%, tells me that at some point we're going to see alts stop gaining, BTC turn around and go on a surge, and alts lose value. So we want to look out for that flipping of momentum going from alts to BTC. That being said, there's some overhead targets on the altcoin market cap. So if this whole thing goes into play and we can keep track of it, and altcoin market cap does hit those targets, it's going to be really interesting to see what BTC does next. A couple of server announcements, things we've added before I take altcoin requests. We made some modifications to our server. I'm gonna go ahead and move me to this side real quick. So for the BitMEX traders, for leverage traders, I went ahead and added a margin alts, right? So where we update alts daily, or whenever there's various setups coming into play. We haven't seen much movement on BitMEX alts, right? A lot of the movement has been in traditional alts. We also added a charting bot, right? Where if you guys are away from your computer and you want to get an update on a chart, you can just type in C, let's say ADA, 1 hour, and next thing you know, you'll get a chart of ADA. So you want to add an RSI, you can do all that. And that's as far as subscribers to be able to access, so they can get updates on the fly. I hate charting on my phone, and this is just a valuable resource when I'm away from my screens. I want to post some updates. Or if you guys are away from your screen, you want to do the same thing, you're able to do that. As well as, what else did we add? I think those are the two major changes we have done. The signals have been on fire, right? I mean, MCO is already moving up. We'll go to the trade updates. MCO made a 13% move overnight. I actually went up and hit all these targets. Went up to 91,803, and it's now consolidating back down. RVN 200% last night. Even set out an alert. I'll go ahead and I'll update these in person too. QTUM, we're still looking for overhead targets. We're up 18% from entry. BAT Zeke is up some 12%. What chart was this? Loom 12%. So we're seeing a lot of these big moves happen. NMR also, Numeri went making a leg up. So we're seeing a lot of movements from the recently posted trades. There is a link to our Discord in the Facebook video description. So you guys want to get in there, you can get in there. If you guys are on YouTube, go to coinobservatory.com, get your link from there. All right. So that being said, I covered quite a bit of what I wanted to cover. It's time to take some altcoin requests. I got asked about power. So I'm going to go ahead and start with power, and we'll move from there. So power on the 240, what do we see? We see a big cup and handle, right? We saw this pennant, price broke up, the rally failed to sustain, right? But we're also finding support at one of my key moving averages. One thing I want to say right now in this current market, the state of the market is looking really good, right? So I've developed this altcoin swing trading strategy with moving averages last year, 2017. We traded this several times, right, through several rallies, and I'm getting a lot of buy signals on a lot of tokens, and we're seeing these rallies price sustain above my longest term moving average on the daily. Here on the 4 hour, this is a typical pullback. Volume has been a little lower on power, but does that mean this play is over? Let's chart it out, right? Let's see what's going on. I'm getting add an RSI. So is there a bullish div? There's a bit of a div, but not quite. Here we're seeing this higher high above this previous high. In terms of wicks, it's divergent. In terms of candles, it is not. RSI is doing what's called a mid-range divergence, right? We're here. We're seeing a higher low and a lower low on RSI. Same thing with the stochastic. Selling power here would be essentially selling oversold, right? You look where stochastic is actually turning up I would like to see power turn back around for another up move, but we do see, just looking at chart formations, right? Starting off, there's, my phone's going crazy. There's this big pennant, and we played this pennant previously, right? We traded this pennant for an up move, and then from here we saw a cup and handle. All right, so there's our cup. This is our handle. All right, it's not your classical handle. It consolidated somewhat into, I'm not gonna call it a pennant. All right, I'm just gonna call it a consolidation. So we had a little bit of a handle to the cup, and we saw a secondary breakout, and now support. You're probably trying to find support above this previous trading range, and which is gonna be right there. I'm gonna go ahead and add array. So ideally, we want to see price sustain above this previous trading range of 2630 as a resistance. So as long as 2630 can turn into support, and you can see price turn back around once again. As you can see, I've got plenty of alerts here to let me know the breakout is starting. So I'm still expecting a breakout on power. All right. So this is how altcoin requests work. I'm gonna ask for alts. I'm going to cover 3 at a time, and once I cover those 3, I'll ask for more, just so you guys aren't showing like 10 alts and expect me to go through all of them. We got to make room for everyone, so please name 1 or 2 as I ask for them. CDT. It's running on fairly decent volume, right? If you're going to get fib targets for this, it's in an uptrend. Momentum is in favor. This is looking fairly good. So I'm just going to give a next target. A next target on CDT is going to be the 371 Satoshi range, the 1.618 fib. We did see a couple of breakouts go up to the 3.61 and the 4.23. I'm not quite sure if this chart's gonna make it that far up, but if I'm currently in a trade and it's at 4.23, I'm gonna profit take and see how the chart reacts. Except for one token, which is RVN, and that one's looking pretty explosive. It's actually showing, I'm going to talk about RVN here a little later. It's showing me some really interesting properties. Oh, my face is covering it. Sorry, I'm just going to move to the other side. There we go, much better. And if I was trailing stops over here, I would probably trail my stops like the 261. And let the chart play out, right? There's no reason to profit take when the market's looking bullish. There's no reason to just, sell right away when we're seeing the market cap rally. So sentiment is bullish. All right, request for RVN. So RVN is really interesting. It's almost refusing to get broken down. And I had this chart. Let me go ahead and pull it out of our analyst Discord. So RVN's doing something that I haven't seen any other chart do except for BTC on its upwards moves. And I'm not going to call this a fractal, but the properties it's displaying in terms of how it breaks out, I can compare it to several BTC breakouts, which has made me not quite profit take as much as I want right now. We're seeing like this initial breakout on RVN for a sideways consolidation, and then this set of consolidation, which looks a lot like several BTC consolidations before the parabolic move up. And I think it's on a hyperwave, right? I really think it is. If you guys, I had this one video about breaking a hyperwave down in the sub waves, right? And I think RVN is going to be huge, just because of this property it's displaying. And so this was one of the breakouts. This would be like January, and this is what's interesting about this time frame on this thing. The 11th to the 23rd, it's like 11 days. It displayed a pattern that BTC did from December through June of 2016 to 2017. So it's a very bold statement to make. It's very early on, but when I saw this, the 2-hour chart for RVN, I was like, hey, I think I've seen this type of consolidation before, and this type of volatility. And the other example would be right here as well. All right, so this was the 2016 BTC move, where we see this, almost initial leg up, comes back down. There's like 1, 2, 3 tops, and then a parabolic move up. So I've got really high hopes. Let's not call it hopium. I think RVN is going to be a longer term hold for me, just based on what it's doing. When we see these accumulation breakout patterns happen, market maker thinks of RVN as something that's worth to display similar characteristics as BTC, and I really like that. All right, going over POA. So guys, if I covered your coin, go ahead and click like on the video, right? Share it, and maybe tag some friends. All right, POA is looking good, right? What do we see? We see a breakout above previous range, price sustain above the previous range. So if this was a range trade and one was buying support and selling resistance, all right, we got 3 touches. You can even squish this up to here and call this a false breakout. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have a breakout. Price is currently sustaining above the previous range. If I was trading this, I would set my stop somewhere down here, hide it below like the 1356. If I want to put out a target, let's see how it's doing compared to the fibs from this swing low to that swing high. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna extend it a little over to the side, and it's currently relating to these fib levels, right? We see the 0.78 turn into support, friction at the 1.61, a sell-off at the 2.61. So one can even hike their stop up to like 14.95 and keep a close eye on it. As for now, it's doing a W formation. Last time I saw a W formation was on RVN, and it continued to the upside. Let's check mid-range divergences from here to there. Not quite. Yeah, so momentum's to the upside. Let me go to the daily and see what it's looking like in terms of ADX. ADX is pushing up some previous highs, right? We've seen it turn around over here at these previous high levels, so I would keep a close eye on it. I don't see a bearish div on the daily. I do see a bearish div on the 4-hour, right? And that might be why we saw this sell-off. So I might range out. I want to see this hold as support before another turn. All right, covered POA. Go over Bcash and Walton Chain. BCH. So Bcash, I see a big inverse head and shoulders setting up over here on this chart. I've currently longed it on a margin, right? And looking at what's going on with price action right now, it's looking like it's setting up in a pennant, possibly a descending triangle. Let me go to 60, get a better reading on this. So 60 would be the 1 hour chart, right? So we're seeing a bull flag, right? We're seeing a little bit of a bull flag on Bcash. And if price breaks out of this flag, we're going to see a violent swing up, okay? Target for this flag is based on the shorter move target is going to put Bcash. In terms of BTC value, it's going to create a gain of, well, 3.6%. If you're on 5x leverage, it's going to be quite a bit more. But the interesting thing about Bcash is there is a possibility of an inverse head and shoulders with an exaggerated shoulder on the right side. Let me remove all drawing tools. And we're seeing these inverse head and shoulders on several charts. We're also seeing it on the actual altcoin market cap as well, right? So I'm probably going to highlight a lot of these. Well, and this is going to be a pretty far stretch to make that, but if this thing does close, we can have a really worthy trade on our hands. And by really worthy, so all the way up to the neckline is going to be a big 18% move. But hey, this is crypto. We've seen 18% moves in an hour. We've seen 200% moves in a few days, right? So from there, this is why I like Bcash right now, right? Because it's showing bullish characteristics. So from there, we're going to see another 24% up move for the head and shoulders target, right? So another 24% up move. Overall, this would this could, right? So Bcash could have an upwards target of 47% from where it is currently. And from my current analysis of the altcoin market cap, we're seeing that type of setup for the entire market cap. And as long if we can hit these numbers, if you're doing this on margin, on 5x, on 10x, you're going to be doing fairly well, right? Just be careful, keep your stops tight, especially something like Bcash, which I think is a redundant coin. It doesn't even need to exist, right? So that's my consensus on Bcash. I dislike this coin, but do I trade it? I do. Why? Just to extract value from the market. Walton Chain. Real quickly, I'm going to go to my daily strategy and see what that's telling me. All right, daily strategy. I don't think momentum's to the upside on Walton Chain just yet, or Altcoin. Why? Well, price is still below my longer term moving average. My trend is at a 10, which means there is no trend. RSI is at 50. That's somewhat of a good thing, but it doesn't quite have the momentum that other tokens do. Now, volume has been coming in and rising. Let's go like a 240. See if there's a formation that we can trade. It's currently in a range, right? It's still in a range. It's not to that breakout level. It's not a breakout trade. All I'm going to say is it doesn't have the momentum some of the other tokens have right now. Dragon. If I just covered your coin, guys, smash that like button. Share this video, right? If you don't like my analysis, I'm sorry, right? If you don't like what I'm saying about your coin, it's just this is how I would trade the market. This is what I'm seeing. So Dragon looks interesting, right? If you guys read my article on alts, I said alts are doing this 50% to 61.8 retracements before the next leg up. What is Dragon doing? Just that, right? We see a sell-off, then we see, swing low, swing high, initial rally, 61.8 retracement. It's looking good, right? I mean, it's not looking great. It's not looking great like some of these other tokens are, but it's looking like we're going to see a bullish continuation. We see a W formation here, price consolidating higher than 61.8. We could see another push up. It would get really interesting once we get friction with the previous high, right? Or the previous resistance. A lot of tokens that are breaking this previous resistance are making big run-ups. And those are the things that I'm looking out for. There's going to be the momentum trades for me right now. We're in a momentum era. So we're also seeing this, or I'm also seeing this previous pennant, this breakout zone on Dragon, where this up move started, and price is currently, what is this? What is this called? This is called a throwback, when price returns to a previous breakout range. So this is a throwback, right? Usually buying the throwback is a smart move. This isn't financial advice. This is just how I would navigate the market. All right. Moving on. Dragon, you see ELA. Man, I'm not liking these low volume tokens, right? I'm not liking this low volume action we're seeing. I mean, there's 38 BTC in these charts on Huobi and KuCoin. Like, stick to the most explosive gainers right now are going to be coins that are listed on Bittrex and Binance, or Bittrex coins that got listed on Binance recently. Something like Poly, I'm expecting a big move out of. I'm expecting a quote-unquote Binance pump on a few of these tokens. So things that are trading on 17 BTC volume on the daily, they're not going to see as interesting of a move up. But if I look at this, I see a couple of bullish features, right? We see a bull flag, see another bull flag, and another breakout. So let's set our targets from this first initial move up, and I'm just going to go ahead and trace it this way. There's no fib support in this area. We might see this previous trading zone, these previous order block act as support. Don't like it a whole lot. Does it have potential? It does, but not as much potential as I would like to see. I'm also seeing, these. If I was to put this on a TD sequential, right, I got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got a 5 down, 5 red candles on the daily. What does that tell me? This thing might be on a TD type of cycle where I might want to look at it in 4 days on day 9 and see what happens on day 9. So if you guys are on TradingView and you're TradingView Pro, put up your TD sequential in a coin like this, and you might be able to trade it a little better. Dash. I'm optimistic for Dash, but once again, doesn't have the daily momentum I'd like to see. Usually when you see like a rounding top like that, it's not too exciting, right? Rounding tops are bearish, rounding bottoms are bullish. One thing we do know out of Dash is it likes to do this before a breakout. So at this current time, I wouldn't long Dash before seeing it come back down to retest the previous lows or to start showing signs of an upwards momentum, right? I'm not gonna knife catch on alts when I have momentum alts in play, when I have tokens like BAT, ZRX, RVN, QTUM, which I'm gonna go over next. These really bullish. The trend is your friend, right? And the trend on Dash has not been up. It's not up right now. It's been down for the last few days. This is beyond a TD9 on the way down. QKC. What's going on, Chris? I've seen you talk about this one in our TA channel quite a bit. Look at this sell-off, right? What would we expect over here? 50% retracement. If you were to pick this low, remember even RVN did a 50% retracement for a bit. So, you know, at this point, I would want to see what happens in this range. I would want to see what happens between the 50 and the 61.8. Let's add some RSI. Is not, I don't see a bear dip, but I do see a DI cross where DI negative is overtaking on the daily. And ADX already trended up, right? And a turnaround. Now it's in a downtrend. We're seeing, you know, 1, 2, 3. This might be a TD9 setup as well. Let me open up Trading View for some of these. So we didn't quite get a 9 up there, right? But we're looking at a 1, 2, 3 count. And here's some pivot points, right? So if I was to do a fib retracement on this, like, let me move this so it's not over my head. I'll just move myself. So back to that fib I had ran on Coinigy. Let's go from wick to wick. Alright, so we're at 38.2. Might want to see consolidation even back down to here where that previous line is, where we see that pivot point. I'm sure you guys can see my pivot point right here. So once again, it puts it back into the range that I was highlighting earlier on my Coinigy chart. I'm gonna stick to charting on here with this setup. All right, QTUM. Why are we doing this? Shit, that's why. Okay, let me go ahead and go back to QTUM. Alright, so we're seeing a breakout happen on QTUM, and I highlighted this on the daily a few days ago, and I said, hey, whenever price consolidates above my long-term moving average with a strategy in play and ADX at 29, we're pushing up a good trend. We're not even in that overbought range on the daily. I see quite a bit of momentum here. We could be seeing one of these bigger moves set up. Let me go to Bitrix. It's got a more data on the chart, right? So we could be seeing a big move, an early stage of a big move. And you guys have my targets on QTUM and our private trading community. You know, I posted those, and you know, this was the last target for today. It actually turned around right there. So yeah, signals that we have in play. I'm not really gonna give out too much data publicly. I'm just gonna keep them updated in our signal updates. A few other tokens that are moving, right? I'm gonna just go ahead and do an analysis on them based on my altcoin strategy. BAT, the trend is pushing up 37, is still moving to the upside, right? Trend on BAT can go all the way up to 51 before an actual turn and then some. So I'd expect more up move from BAT, right? We also have rumors of a Coinbase listing, which is also helping move this thing, like we moved ZRX, and there's also, there's a couple other tokens that have those rumors, such as Zeke and such. And so yeah, I'm optimistic on several of these plays. I do have a list of potential Coinbase listings and Saber notes. If you guys are subscribers, you have access to my notes. Scroll up, need help finding it, tag me on Discord, and I'll get you in there. All right, I'm gonna do a last call for altcoins. I'll take 2 more altcoin requests, and then I'm gonna call it a day. All right, going once. Going twice. All right, GVT. All right, this thing's looking mega bullish, right? We've seen this thing's looking good, though we do have a bit of a bear div. We go in the 240. The 4 hour isn't looking too bad. I would consider hiking up my stop on this. And I'm going to give a potential 3.618 target, right? That's what we saw QTUM turn around on today on a shorter move. So it's getting close to that 3.618. It's looking fairly bullish, right? So you got, the 2 overhead targets are going to be up here off that initial breakout. So off the initial breakout, our top 2 targets going to be the 242 and 275, right? And I would consider, if I was still in this trade, I would do a stop loss at like the 185 range as a trailing stop type of precaution, right? As I said, I'm expecting alts to make big moves, but at some point BTC is going to turn around and bite alts on the bot, and we don't want to get caught. So yeah, there's a few, the 5.61, the 6.85 as well. Yeah, so this thing's looking good. Momentum's to the upside. ADX on the daily. Let's see when price crossed over. So back to my altcoin strategy. My altcoin momentum strategy based on moving averages, right? A break of the longer term moving average by the other 2 sets something in an uptrend, especially when ADX is above 25. And this is a classic momentum trade, classic pick. So momentum to the upside until otherwise noted. There is some bearish divergence on the daily, and ADX is up high where it's turned around before. So I would expect a slight move up to the targets I had there previously for a consolidation if the divergence doesn't correct itself. Alright, I've covered your coin. Once again, smash that like button, share that video on Twitter, share it with some friends, tag a friend, put it on Facebook, show your mom. Alright, so NEO. I just looking over here, what do we see? A lot of accumulation volume. But one thing I preach about NEO is it's always too soon to buy NEO. It's always too soon to buy NEO until it breaks above previous resistance, right? So in terms of BTC, I am not going to touch NEO. It's currently in a trading range, and if I was to touch NEO, I would either touch it at the 248 range with a stop like 236, or I would touch NEO once it breaks above previous resistance. NEO is the ultimate trap. What happens when NEO starts range trading is it gets shorted, right? This thing is, if you're a short seller and you can short NEO, you are, once it gets resistance, it gets shorted, breaks out, it gets shorted again. So typically buying NEO, like last time on the USD chart, I didn't buy NEO until it broke above $50, right? And that's when it started moving up. Let's go to Bittrex USDT. So I didn't quite buy NEO until it broke above 50 or 40 something dollars for the big move to 180. And it's currently in a range. The USD chart's looking stronger, right? There's a bull flag on the USD chart, but in terms of moving averages, it hasn't done what I want to see for momentum. It's not a momentum play by any means. Alright, covering OMG. I've not covered OMG. I'm going to go ahead and cover that one. So music is looking like it's entering the momentum range that I like to see coins in, right? RSI on the dailies at 54. That's good. The ADX is at 12, right? So there's no range yet. It's still there's no trend yet. It's still in a trading range. I do, however, see a potential wedge. Is that a wedge? Auto. This is a falling wedge breakout on OMG, right? So if I wasn't in this trade and I wanted to hop in, I would do it with a stop loss of 5.5%, which is a really acceptable trade. Or I would wait for price action to come back down and retest the top of the wedge, but it looked like this thing looks good on the daily, right? The target here, maybe 25% target is another 20% up in this move, right? Which would put OMG at this pivot point from this previous range. Over here, it's going to find, ideally, we're going to find resistance up here. 25%, 24, 24, 24. So we want to see a pivot up here, right? So there's a nice 20% target on OMG for now, but it doesn't quite have the momentum I'd like to see. It's actually looking stronger than NEO in terms of BTC values in my daily altcoin moving strat, or altcoin MA and trend move strategy. I'm talking too much, I'm mumbling. Well, everyone, thank you for watching this Power Hour. Thank you for tuning in. Click that like button, right? Smash that. Share it. Subscribe. If you're not on our Discord, hop on our Discord. I'd love to see you there. I actually made our trade updates visible for everyone. So if you're not a VIP and you want to keep an eye on what we're doing and how we're doing it, and how we're hiking up our stops and making sure we're securing our gains without over trading, all that's in there, right? Yeah, well, thank you all for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Enjoy alt season.